All right, we're back. We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. What's up? Ann is here first. I think the stream just kept on running while I got booted. And thanks for being here first. Let me just check my windows here. My name is Mr. Messer, but you can call me Rob. Thank you guys so much for being here. Extremely excited for tonight's guest. We are doing another round of VeeFam sessions live. We're live on the VeeFam network. We're live on the VeeFam sessions YouTube. We're live on the VeeFam sessions Twitter. Nope, we're live on Mr. Messer Twitter. Please share this. So excited for this conversation. I don't know how many dozen people are on Whatnot tonight, but yeah, that's why we have multiple screens. Thank you, Anne. I love the live sessions. I love you. I want to apologize in advance for my just hopefully I don't sneeze all over the place. Everyone's heading now from Michelle. Oh yeah, that's right. Michelle went live. Battling a little cold, but we're just gonna rock. K Coles is in the building. What's up? What's up? Thank you, Savvy. It's been a minute. Been a couple weeks. I hope everyone's well. And my guest is backstage. Guys, super exciting. I know we're not going to get into like super tidbits, news and notes, but some OGs got emails today. There's 2 VeeFriends in our house, adults. Only one got the email, so you can imagine dinner was a little tense. Only one of us got the email, but it's okay because I'm gonna share the OG that I am. I'm gonna share my. I'm gonna let Chelsea look at my phone when I'm on the screen. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just gonna let her look. I don't think any of you guys seem like nice people. I don't think anyone would object to that. So I'm gonna bring up my guest. We're gonna jump right into it tonight. What's up?
What's up? Hello. How you doing, Rob?
I'm awesome. So good. All right, there you are. Okay. Need to be able to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for
Before I do
having
my
me.
proper intro, I just want to thank you again because sometimes I don't say it enough. So thank you for taking the time. You're super busy. You're crushing content, streams of your own, doing bracelets. You're doing like everything. So can't wait to get into all that. But thank you for being here.
I
How's
appreciate it. Thank you.
2025 treating you so far?
It's been a blast. It has been freezing cold here in New York, but started off the year with a few hours in the warmth of Arizona before my flight on New Year's Day. So enjoyed my time at home to end off 2024, and excited for all things VeeFriends 2025. That's for sure.
Let's go. Yeah, it's been freezing here too. It snows like once every decade in Charleston, and it snowed a little bit, and people just lost their minds. My son hasn't been to school all week.
Oh
I
wow.
mean, Monday was a holiday, but yeah, there's just not enough support to like get snow and ice. Anywho, so good to do this. And shout out to Corso with the assist. I did the old fashioned. People know I love my post-its here. I did the old fashioned post-it. Passed the post-it to Corso, who passed it to Courtney. I did the old fashioned 90s yes, no, maybe. She said yes. So here we are. All right. I am. Let's do this. Chat, are you ready? You're gonna have opportunities to at the end to ask Courtney some questions. Here we go. VeeFam, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the VeeFam Sessions. My name is Mr. Messer, but you can call me Rob, and I am so thrilled, over the moon to be here with VeeFriends live stream producer, content creator, just all-time awesome human being, Miss Courtney Knecht. Courtney, how are you?
I'm doing well. How have you been? That was a wonderful intro. You crushed that.
Oh, thank you. I've had a couple of reps, but I appreciate that. No one's ever complimented my intro before.
First time for
So
everything.
right off
I'm
the
honored
bat,
to be
I like where we're going with this.
Yeah.
So
What's up,
much to
Brooke?
dive in, like past, present, future with you. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the format, but I always like to kind of take a step back to begin. And before any of this hoopla ever started, like give us the 55-second cliff notes on who Courtney is before you like ever heard the name GaryVee.
I played like every sport imaginable growing up, but basketball and swimming were my main sports. Um, Man, yeah, sports were like my whole life up until college. And then I had always loved music. I attended a lot of like live music concerts, music festivals throughout my years of growing up and into high school and college. And so I've always enjoyed the environment of live music settings and just the connection that's formed between fans and their favorite music artists. And so as I kind of phased out of playing basketball, I wanted to get into something very creative, but I wanted it to be within the music scene. And I knew I didn't want to make music myself per se. So I picked up a camera and started like getting creative with a camera and like shooting music videos and things for music artists in the Seattle area where I was going to school at the time.
That's so cool. And what a cool place to do it too, Seattle. Um, so like run me through this. Is this like just your like core group of friends? You're like that were musically talented and you were like, can I film you? Did you like post somewhere and like offer your services? How did that work?
A little bit of both. I was in college at the time, and it was a mix of like multiple factors, right? I had gotten a few injuries where I decided I didn't want to play basketball anymore, and so I quit playing and had a ton of free time on my hands. And in the time that I had been playing basketball, I had been hosting like mini concerts or like house parties, if you will, at my friends' houses around the college campus because I was a freshman and sophomore in college at the time, and I had to live on campus in the dorms. And so obviously I couldn't like host events, in my dorm room. And so I had a lot of friends that were upperclassmen, and they were very willing to like let me host things at their house. I made it very easy for them. I promised them they wouldn't have to do anything but show up and have a good time. And I just like, stuck to my word on that and really like made sure everything was taken care of and that people just had fun. And um, through that, I had started, some of my friends had come to me and they had said like, we DJ in our free time and we do this for fun. And it would be really fun to like do sets at these events and parties that you host. And I was like, that would be super fun. I'm here for it. We can get, different varieties of music going at these parties. And so would like book my friends that were DJs to perform hour-long sets at these shows and whatnot. And then that turned into also booking local artists. So people just in the area, there were different high schools in the area, there were different colleges in the area, there were different just like locals who were working and that sort of thing. And we became like the house that I had moved into summer of my sophomore year in college, we became like somewhat known around the city of Tacoma of like we would host events. And so we created like, funny enough, a Snapchat page where we would like post where things were happening, what was going on, and
Nice.
people in the area locally and, at our school would come and show up at the events. And when COVID hit, by that time I had gotten into Gary's content pretty deep, and it was a mix of quitting basketball, having the experience of running events under my belt a little bit for like a year and a half, 2 years, and then I had gotten to know local artists, and so I was like, I want to try shooting more music videos, shooting more social content. And so I reached back out to all the local artists and DJs and friends of mine that I had built relationships with through hosting these events. And I was like, hey, I am learning this new hobby. I would love to just film things for you. And I didn't charge for like a really long time. And then after I felt like I had enough experience to like make a business out of it, just started using good old Gary Vaynerchuk's little
Yeah,
business tactics.
it
And
sounds like it.
yeah.
Literally following the host the party rule.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, but going back to that, it sounds like you were doing a lot more than just doing content, like, booking the talent, like, I don't know, like tickets, $5 a cup. I don't know how, I'm probably dating myself, but, um, there's a lot that goes into it. And this is like a very small nuance, but like, as someone that like has worked in a lot of event type situations and party type situations, it's not like the easiest thing to like be at a party and like try to work, right? Like,
Right.
was that
Yeah.
a hurdle for you?
100%. I mean, I was also like, I was very young for my grade, so I was a year younger. I was always the youngest in my class, and so I also like grew up in like a somewhat strict household, and so I was off at college for the first time. I was tasting freedom for the first time, and like I wanted to, have just as much fun as everyone else, but to a degree, like you're responsible for everyone else who's having fun, and I didn't take that lightly by any means, and so I always just wanted to make sure, that while everyone is having fun, there's a way to have fun and also just like be safe and not be like stupid about it. And so, I just like fully took I was an accountable aunt from early on, and just like fully took accountability, and that whatever happens at these events is on me if I'm the one deciding to bring it all together. And so I have to be the one to like be willing to take any accountability that comes with that. So
Oh, good for you. I mean, much easier said than done. Um, I want to move to the 137 air in a second, but in my homework, did I see that you were a radio host?
it's crazy that you found that. Yeah. Did during
90.1 The Sound?
yeah, that's crazy. KFM or something like that. I don't remember. KUPS or something like that. Was the name of the station. Uh, wow, that's wild. Yeah, me and myself, myself and my roommate from freshman year of college, and one of like the guys on the boys basketball team. We all loved music and we all loved hip hop, and it was like right after my roommate had gotten cut from the team, and that was also kind of a factor in like uh, me not really wanting to play anymore. I had all these injuries, and a lot of my friends weren't on the team anymore. It wasn't the same. And so this was like something we could all still do together, and that we all enjoyed. And so we hosted a weekly, like almost podcast. It was basically a podcast just on a radio station.
That's awesome. So, did anything like looking back, did anything that you did there or learned there, like, did that kind of help mold something that you're doing today?
Yeah, honestly, now that you say that and bring that up, I'm like totally, because radio station is like the closest thing to live streaming, excuse me. And so in a weird way, it was like almost a practice round at like hosting things in real time. And because like you're live on the air, and once you say things, like there's real penalties if you don't follow like the structure of like having to read um an ad the proper way, or like anything like that. There's certain rules and legalities that come with being live on a radio station, and so you have to be aware of that, and you have to be careful with your verbiage, and you have to, like all the things that you do and you're aware of while you're live streaming. It was I never really thought about it until this moment now, but yeah, in a way it was kind of like a practice round of like getting familiar with like hosting live streams. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I don't like to think that I don't like to say that I have regrets, but I do wish I had more like drive in college. Like I was very social party heavy in college, and I wish I like took advantage of like the resources like studios and stuff like that. Um very cool. I thought that was a very cool thing that I
Thank
definitely
you.
appreciate you letting us in on. So we're moving down the timeline here. Tell us who is Tyler Walsh?
Tyler Walsh is one of my good friends. We met over the internet, honestly. I was posting as I was like getting into music videos and getting into Gary's content. Of course, what he preaches the most is posting social content. And so, posting a 2 or 3 minute music video one time on YouTube and posting the link to your story, or posting 1 30-second clip of it on Instagram and no other platforms isn't going to do anything to help the artist that you just filmed a music video for. And if you're trying to build something like a Lyrical Lemonade or a media platform around music artists, like you can't just post 1 or 2 pieces of content. And so I was trying to get in the practice of creating social content to promote these music videos. And I made a TikTok that was like basically just introducing myself with text on the screen. It was like an 8-second video of me just like waving in front of a house near my house in Arizona. And on the screen, it just said, "Hi, I'm a music video director in Los Angeles," because I had moved to LA by the time I like had gotten into 137, and like I had lived there for like 6 months prior to getting into 137. And um, so I posted this video, and the last bit of text on the screen was like, if you're a photographer, creator, music artist, et cetera, leave a comment below with who you are and what you do, and I would love to connect with you. And then through that video, it like got like 100,000 views and like a crazy amount of comments of just people who wanted to connect and who were creative people in the Los Angeles or Phoenix or Seattle area. And I was like, this is amazing. And so Tyler had reached out to me over Instagram after seeing that video. And we just talked back and forth for a little bit and exchanged like some music we were listening to. And he saw a little bit of the content I was posting. I was just posting things, for myself at the time, trying to get some practice and get some reps in. And he told me about 137. And actually, at the time, I wasn't really like looking for a job. I was running my own production company. I was like 6 months out of graduating college and living in LA, and wasn't really looking for a job, but I looked into it a little bit, like a week or two after he told me about it. And I was like, this seems kind of cool. They're making content about just things that are fun. And so I was like, okay, I'll apply to it. And I applied. I had my first interview with Sinan Daris. Much love to Sinan. He used to work on the VeeFriends team for a while. And from there, I found out after my first interview that Gary was like a part owner of 137. And I was like, oh, wow, this is really crazily aligned because when I graduated college, I was running my own production company at the time, like filming music videos and content for music artists. And so when I graduated, I had actually flown back to Seattle for it. I had already like moved home because it was middle of COVID. Everything was virtual. And so I flew back to Seattle, had my graduation. And on the day of my graduation, after I grabbed my degree, I was like, I told myself, I was like, if I'm going to work for anyone but myself, I am going to do it for one of these 3 people. And now today I would probably add a 4th person to that list. But the 3 people that were originally on the list were Scooter Braun, Cole Bennett, and Gary Vaynerchuk. And so, 6 months down the road after saying that to myself, a job offer from a company he owns comes across the table. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I'm going to just take a chance and do it because I don't want to, have the regret of not trying it. And then, started working with 137 and Card Talk, and that led to VeeFriends.
I love that. That's so cool. It's cool that you didn't know going in. I thought like you were like, in the TikTok Gary rush and just like knew, but very, very neat. So was your first like assignment there Card Talk, or how did Card Talk come about? And just for those listening, and there's a lot of sports cards people in this little VeeFriends card niche, but obviously like iconic podcast in that little sports card niche. Card collector too, Ryan, Lou. Shout out Lou, would love to have you on the pod. And Tyler Schmidt. So tell us how you got in with those guys.
Yeah, 100%. So Tyler, at the time I, went through the interview process. I had my first interview with Sinan, second interview with Jason Kopel, who's now on the VeeFriends team. Big shout out to Jason. He was the main producer of Card Talk. And so before my time at 137, he was solely handling Card Talk and all things. So, and all things related to Card Talk. So big shout out to Jason. I got connected with him on my second interview. And then after my second interview, I want to say it wasn't even like a few days later, Tyler either emailed me or texted me. I don't quite remember, and was like, congrats, you got the job. Like, I had never talked to Tyler before. He just like hit me and said congrats. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And then met him, like on my first day working at 137, because Tyler was the general manager at the time. And so he was my boss, and he was one of the co-hosts of Card Talk. And then Jason was producing Card Talk. And my job at 137 was actually assistant producer of Card Talk. So I applied originally to be a music content creator for them. And at the time, they had just hired Tyler Walsh. And so they weren't necessarily looking for a second music content creator. But when I applied, I, at the time, had just gotten back into looking through like my childhood card collection, and courtesy of Gary's content and his podcast, giving me the heads up there. And so I was starting to go through that, and in the process of that, made a few videos. And I made a video where I thought I found a holy grail of a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Blue Eyes White Dragon. I thought like I found like the holy grail that people look for, and it was not it at all. It was it was not it at all. It was worth a significant amount less. But the video that I made was like funny, and I had posted it at the time that I had applied. And so I was like, I guess I made a video about trading cards. Like, I can check to be a trading card content creator. And because I had collected as a kid and, was just getting back into it. And so when I checked that, I guess that, flagged to Ty that they were looking for someone to run the at Sports Cards page that Card Talk was an owner of. And so my job when I got hired was not even assistant producer. It was just to make one TikTok a day for Card Talk on their TikTok account. And then that grew into me helping with the podcast more and more, taking some things off of Jason's plate. And then we all just kind of grew as a team from there and made things happen.
Yeah. Is Card Talk coming back?
That's a tough question. I can't.
I saw someone tweet it. I didn't know if it was just like ha-has or. at some point.
We've had multiple conversations about it. I don't know, frankly. I'm not sure. And I don't want to, give
Yeah.
anyone
Okay.
false hope.
Well, if nothing else, I really hope they do a World Cup special next year, reunion episode to talk some soccer cards going into the World Cup. But that's for another day. So you're doing TikToks, and this is the other big question. Like if I had to ask you one question, I'd probably ask you this:
Hmm.
Were you the first person to do the penny trade up trend?
I was.
That is iconic.
I was in like the trading card hobby. I got it from Ryan Trahan,
Got it. Yeah.
who was a YouTuber. So he was in the middle. I think I found his videos on day 9 of 30 of his penny series that he was doing to like deliver a penny to Mr. Beast. And I was like, this is amazing. And I looked up like trade up challenges and everything on TikTok because we had been like Jason and I had been wrecking our brains trying to come up with like a series idea that we could do uh, going into the national because it was the first time I had ever experienced the card show. And so we were trying to come up with a plan for content. And so I found Ryan's series and I started watching it every single day. Like it became a part of my routine. And I was like, this is the first like YouTube series I've ever like really been so dialed into to the point where like I'm like so curious how he's like doing it behind the scenes and like how it's happening. And I'm just like questioning if I really believe if he's like doing it or not. I'm like,
Yeah.
is he actually like is he just putting on a show for the cameras or can you actually trade up a penny? Like are there really people who will help you with these trade up challenges like this? And I was like I would kind of want to put it to the test. And so brought the idea to Jason and Jason was like I like it and Tyler was like I like it and so we planned to do it and um going into the national Gary had us all, get together for dinner the night before the show started, and he went around the table as we were all ordering, and he was like, "Everyone say, one goal you have going into this show. What do you want to do to feel like you accomplished something in this 5-day card show?" And so everyone goes around the table, and it gets to me, and I was like, I want to turn a penny into whatever dollar amount trading card I can. And everyone was kind of quiet for a moment. And Gary was like, well, do you like have a plan? Or are you just going to like wing it? And I was like, no, I have a strategy. I have a strategy. And I kind of like explained it a little more. I explained the strategy and I'm like, I'm not just winging it. And he's like, okay, like what dollar amount do you want to get to that would make you feel like you accomplished it? Like it would be the end of the challenge. And you feel like you hit your goal. And I was like, if I can turn a penny into $100 trading card, I will be blown away. Like I'll be mind blown. I will fully believe that this YouTuber traveled
Yeah.
across the country on a penny. And so the and he was like, all right, when you get to that dollar amount, like come show me the card. And I was like, all right, for sure. And so the show starts the next day. Jason and I, we start filming content, and we're both like really stoked to start filming this series. And so we start making trades and challenges. And funny enough, the first person we bumped into, we went to the Tops booth because Tops has I think they still have it every year to this day, but excuse me, Tops has a booth where it's like take a card or leave a card, take a card. And so we were just like hanging around there because I was like, if I can just trade a penny for like any dollar card out of a dollar box, like it doesn't matter. I can then go to this wall, leave that random card that I
Sure.
got for a penny, and then take one that's worth $1, and then I'm set there and I can go from there. And so we're like looking around for tables with dollar boxes, but Tops is a corporate booth, and so we're in the corporate area, and this kid and his dad heard us, talking about what we were trying to do, and they come up to us and they're like, "You're never gonna believe this, but like our branding on social is 1 cent sports cards," and we were like, "No way." And
Amazing.
they were like, "We just overheard you guys talking, like, not to eavesdrop or anything, but we heard you guys talking, and, like, this idea is really cool. We would love it to, like, make the first trade with you." And we were like, "That's awesome. Let's do it." And the kid agreed, and he was, like, so stoked to be in the video, and then we made the trade, and from there, I did, like, the tops, take a card, leave a card, take a card, and then, just made trade ups to there from there, excuse me. And then a few hours into the show, I had traded up to like a graded F1 card. And Jason and I were looking up eBay comps on it and everything. And we found the dollar amount that it was worth. And I was like, oh, shoot, like, let's go back to the booth. And so we go back to the booth, and Gary like was trying to get everyone to clean up a little bit. And so we're organizing the cards and the cases and everything. And Gary was over in the case next to the one I was organizing, and I was like, "Gee, you want to see, like how the challenge is going?" And he was like, "Yeah, show me, show me." So I pull out the card, and he sees it's a graded F1 card. It was like purple, numbered to 399, I think. It was Lando Norris, and he like is like, "Whoa." And I was like, "I can show you the
Wild.
comp on it." And he was like, "What is it?" And I was like, "It's at 110." And he was like, "No way." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Wasn't your goal to hit 100?" And I was like, "Yeah." And that was within like a few hours of the show starting. And so then he was like, "Are you going to keep going, or stop? You hit your goal." And I was like, "No, if it's only the first day of the show, I'm going to see how, how high up I can go in trades." And I ended up, long story short, or well, that was still kind of a long-winded story, but I traded up to like a $300 Justin Bieber Panini rookie card that was like
That's
a PSA 10.
so wild. And this is 2022 national, correct?
I believe so. Yeah, whichever one was in Atlantic City.
So that's wild. Absolutely wild. So I mean, since then, that trend, like everyone does it now. Like in for a while, like it's reserved for like a kid thing now, but like you have dudes doing it too, and it's like all over Instagram at every card show. So so cool. What a great concept. And like it just goes to show, like just try it, like just do it. And I love that you got the support too. One of the quick things before we go on, I want to ask, like it's just been a theme. Like I've talked to Andy about his come up, and Tyler, and like all these guys from like the top down. And like the theme is like when you enter like the Gary's world or the Vayner world, like you just feel like you have like so much rope and like creative freedom to like do whatever you want. Like, is that like just, it sounds like an instance of you receiving that. Am I wrong?
No, 100%. I mean, when I joined, both when I joined VeeFriends and when I joined 137 in Card Talk, it has always been, complete trust and creative freedom of like, we hired you for a reason, and we believe in the skill set that you have, and you should have the freedom to use it how you know best, because ultimately, like, us as individuals are the ones who know ourselves and our skill set best. And so, the whole, everyone, in the Vayner ecosystem, I would say is very, very nice in that, like, they do trust you and your creative ability to do what, you were hired to do.
I love that. So you have a great run at 137 and Card Talk. I'm gonna fast forward. I'm gonna jump to an Instagram post that you put July 30th, 2023. So wrapping up that national, I think that was Chicago.
Are you
Uh,
gonna put this up on the screen so the people can see?
I
This
know.
is crazy. You got timestamps and receipts.
I, I will in the when I this comes out on YouTube.
That's
I'm just
awesome. That's
going
awesome.
old school rigging it right now. Just doc. What a week it's been. Seeing the transformation of VeeFriends and Card Talk Pod from last year to this year has been the coolest thing. I couldn't be more excited to see where the team takes it a decade from now and how many lives it impacts. Grateful to be a part. Now, the first time we like saw you, like front facing was not till like November when you showed up on some Fanatics lives. At uh what point did you join the team, and then how did that transition go from 137 to you getting the job at VeeFriends?
I will say that IJ Rob in the chat is 100% correct in that you definitely do your homework. That is wild. Yeah, I officially joined the team 3 days before that stream, I think. So like on paper I was never on the VeeFriends team until then. But I was always like around because Card Talk 137, we were always very close to the VeeFriends world. VeeFriends was, in its infant stages. We still very much are in our infant stages in a way, because 50+ year journey for G and all things VeeFriends. But in like the really really early days, like the first year that VeeFriends had any kind of footprint at the national was at like the Card Talk booth. Gary and Tyler and Lou all shared a booth at the national every year, and so when VeeFriends started to come about, Gary would just the year that I was there, at least the first year that I was there, Gary took over half the booth, and then Card Talk was the other half, and so we were splitting the booth there when I was doing the penny challenge. And so James Cook, Adam Rips was there, of course, and D Rock, and Tyler Schmidt, of course, was there with Card Talk. And also we were all just helping out as much as we could with VeeFriends, because it was very 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 much in the infant stages. And so I really saw it from like it being half of Gary's, Gary
Right.
taking over half the Card Talk booth and booting some people off to the side, shooting them off to the side, selling their own PC and taking it over for VeeFriends and singing from 4 to 6 p.m. To like them having a big corporate booth and it fully being branded out and built out, and the characters, ginormous and a huge rainbow across
Yeah.
the booth, and it really like having a ginormous footprint and impact on the card show in general. When the year before we were just kind of like in a corner off to the side, and we literally had to stack empty Series 2 boxes on Luddex's booth. I don't want to misspeak here, so don't quote me on this, chat or anyone, but I'm pretty sure that was our first like interaction with Luddex, at least for myself. I can speak for myself. That is the first time I met the Luddex team, is when we stacked up Series 2 boxes on their booth to post a sign that Gary and VeeFriends was like over there off to the side so that people could find our booth, because we were so out of the walkway. That really really fun times.
That was a really great year for content, because I remember that was the year Gary lost his voice, and like there were so many great tweets and stuff from that. For those of us watching and following from home. So was it something? Well, first let me back up a second. You're obviously close to the ecosystem and people that are close to it. Like, were you into it? Like, I don't know if you were like come from crypto or anything, but like, did you like think it was cool? Was it surprised that like, Gary made millions of dollars, selling the original art? Like, what was your take on VeeFriends, if any?
Yeah, my take, like as an outsider at the time, was I watched the entire rollout and launch of VeeFriends happen. I was working with 137, but I was not close with the VeeFriends team at all. The first time I had met them was at that national in Atlantic City. So I was watching, the launch and everything from afar as a viewer from a different perspective, and it was really amazing to watch. And I was fascinated by it. I am a big believer in blockchain technology and Web3 like infrastructure as a whole, and I think it's where our society and where technology will ultimately go to, and I don't necessarily think it'll be like a like Web3 will be a front facing thing. I think it will more so serve as like an infrastructure for already existing industries, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
While also existing as its own industry in a way, in its own ecosystem, I should say, but also just supporting existing industries. And so ever since the initial, I never was really tapped into blockchain technology until that like rush of knowledge came about blockchain technology and crypto, and I started to get into learning about crypto and Bitcoin and Ethereum and Dogecoin and all the things, and was always like a viewer, and I got into like Dogecoin and Bitcoin, and like that was about it for me, and just kind of like learned from things and learned from watching other people and watching uh other projects like unfold and that sort of thing. And um I am definitely like a big believer. I hold like a bunch of free music NFTs that I claimed. Like Arden Jones has, who I have done like a fair amount of content with over the years. He has released NFTs over time, like with his mixtapes, for his fans to claim via email. And so I've always been like tapped into Web3, because it came about in my time at 137. At 137, it was very much like startup energy. And so we were wearing multiple hats, right? I mentioned I was helping produce the show and also creating content for TikTok. And um, among my responsibilities, or I should say outside of my responsibilities with Card Talk, I was also helping create music content for 137 main channels. And we also at one point had like a side channel called NFT 137, where I was helping create NFT and Web3 content there. And it was very much, like Web3 101 stuff, how to set up a wallet and what is
Yeah.
OpenSea and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So not January, September 2023, we see VeeFriends cards getting Fanatics live for the first time. Not too long after you're there. What was that like? Did you come in like knowing you were going to help with this live show? Were you going to run VeeFriends account? What was your role in the early days?
Yeah, exactly what you mentioned. I was hired, I think my title was platform strategy producer. When I was hired, I think that's like what the paperwork said. But it was essentially making content for our VeeFriends cards social handles, managing those handles, so making sure all of that content after I create it, making sure it's distributed on all of those channels, and then also just helping out with the live stream. We have grown as a company since the time I've joined. So at the time, it was uh really a lot of the things that were happening, at least for a little bit of time, was like our team that you don't really see on camera, and then it was Adam, myself, and Connor, like just really putting in hours on those Fanatics live streams. And so I was hired to create content, and then we were all just kind of like in addition to our core responsibilities, we were doing all the things we could to make all the live streams what they were.
Did you did you have to stuff envelopes and all of that?
That was mostly Connor and Liam. Connor and Liam took care of that for the most part. Thankfully, I didn't really have to risk breaking my nails on too many
Because there
envelopes
were
during that.
some of those big 5,500 box breaks. Like those are hefty.
Oh yeah.
So cool. And obviously, yes, the team has exploded. So like it's got to be different. Like for you, you were working behind the scenes, and then like all of a sudden, like you're in front of the camera with like all of this like support, which is good, but at the same time, like there's not too many jobs where you could just like show up and have like this unbelievable, overwhelming like support and people like saying hello to you and being kind. Like, how was that a thing? Like, did you think anything of it? Did you know like what you were getting into? Like, tell me a little bit about like the the emotional side of that.
Oh, 100%. Happy to. I actually, to preface my preface, however you pronounce it, my answer. I want to say I love this question because earlier today, I was in a meeting with some music artists and with some talent that came in for our 25-hour live stream. And they were there hanging out and just having a good time behind the scenes. They came on camera for a little bit while we were breaking. Roshan, he is the guy who goes up to couples and like will tap on the guy's shoulder and hand them a bouquet of flowers without the girl noticing, and so the guy can like turn around and give his girl flowers, and it's like they just appeared out of nowhere.
Awesome.
The videos are amazing. They do really well. And he came in for the 25-hour stream, but he was in a meeting earlier in the office today that I was in, and him and his manager put this very well, and they said like being welcomed into the VeeFriends community is truly like a one of a kind experience. There is nothing comparable to the welcome that you get, and like uh how at home it makes you feel, especially as someone who is like really like packing up my whole life and moving across the country. It's the farthest I've ever lived from my family, the furthest I've ever lived from home. I had a lot of friends in LA and in, Arizona, Seattle, all over the West Coast, that, I didn't have out here. I don't have the same amount of people out here as I do there. And so just to like, I remember the first night I drove into New York with my dad and my dogs. um I think you guys were live, and there was a segment that the guys did called Twitter Hitter, where you guys like did a Twitter hitter
Yeah.
on me, welcoming me to the team. And I had literally just gotten into the city first night, sleeping on an air mattress in my apartment that had like nothing but my air mattress and my dogs and my like two suitcases. Um, and so it was definitely a very, very warm welcome to sum it all up.
That's awesome. So cool. Like, I had a feeling like I knew what the kinds of things you were going to say, but hearing it from you is just makes it so much more special. It's a very, very unusually nice group of people. Give or take a couple that I see in the chat. Chat, I love you. I'm trying not to get distracted, but I saw we have some hype trains. Thank you so much, Savvy. K Save, thank you. Anyone else? We're on Twitch, YouTube, X. This is a podcast, live VeeFam sessions with Courtney Knecht. Having such an amazing conversation. Chat. Well, I'll catch up in a little bit. Thank you. So Fanatics Live Era. I call it the Fanatics Live Era because like you have to think in eras because things happen so fast and it's hard to like pinpoint what happened when. But it's fun looking at like some of those old pictures because it was just like kind of like what you said with the convention. Like it started out with nothing and then all of a sudden like it just exploded. You guys have like a 6 studio now, totally professionally done. So you doing the content, then you're ripping cards, then you're like showing people how to play the game, and like your role is constantly evolving. What like was there a part that was like particularly challenging for you, like in all of those little different roles?
Yeah, I would say it wasn't necessarily like dependent on like the challenges that I faced, or like when I think back in hindsight, like the more challenging times since I've joined the team or moved here, I would say weren't really dependent on the role I was in. It was more so just like being homesick and, being far away from the people that I missed, and trying to figure out that there's not really a balance to life, like trying to figure out a balance, but ultimately, um, I don't know. I don't think that true balance like really exists. I think you just, live life and experience it as it comes. And um, yeah, yeah. So I would say like that any of the challenges that I've faced, I would say is not really dependent on the role I was in. It was more so just like the location I was in, like in New York, and dealing with, living in New York is hard. Living away from family is hard. And
Mhm.
um those were like more of the challenges that I faced more so than anything.
I appreciate that. This is going to be an unfair question. So, we've had so many amazing streams and breaks. You had the Super Bowl, the big game, like crazy, like day trading attention stream. Like your first, I remember looking back, I forgot this, but your first like foil was a 444, which is super
Yes.
symbolic. Like if running through like those files in your brain, is there like one moment that sticks out as like super awesome, or maybe it's something that we didn't even see on stream?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I would say on stream, I think. Oh man, it's so hard to decide because there's so many good moments.
I
Well, there's
know.
so many
I
special
told you it was
moments where
unfair.
it's
I
like,
try to warn you.
I know it's totally okay. It's totally okay. I would say there are very special moments that happen. Oh, this is a good one. Comic-Con weekend. This is I would say there's multiple. Multiple is my general answer, but my real answer is Comic-Con weekend when a lot of the team was in town to make Comic-Con happen. There's a lot of work that goes into like us being at events, and um there's a lot of work, I should say, like at the event, but even more so before. And so there was, Saturday night of that weekend, we were all just hanging out, kind of trying to like decompress from the few days of working the event, knowing we still had one more full day of it and that we were so excited to like be experiencing it all. And so we were all there in the office having good conversation, playing, heads up on our phones and all that, having a good time. And then we're hanging out, and there's just certain serendipitous moments that happen, that you can't really necessarily recreate or plan for. And that was just one of those nights where we all were sitting there having a good time, and we were like, why don't we just, we're having a good time here ourselves. Why wouldn't we want to include like our community members in this, in the chat in this? And so we were like, let's get on live. And it was funny because it was only really supposed to be like a 30-minute pop-up show. I vividly remember, if Adam is watching this right now, or if you're watching this in the future, Adam, he literally, before we went live, he was like, guys, we're gonna go live for 30 minutes as a pop-up show and just jam with the chat for 30 minutes and hang out. And we go live, and we were like, in my mind, I was like, it's probably gonna be an hour. It'll probably go over. We tend to go over, and it was already late. Sure enough, we end up going until like 4:30 in the morning, and it was a
I
blast.
don't
It
remember
was
that.
just like, yeah, we started off the show with a fun skit where like Adam introduced the show and it's Saturday night, similar to Saturday Night Live. And it was just a lot of fun to be there with the team in such like a serendipitous moment, like I mentioned before. And that's just something you can't really plan for, especially with members of the team who, do work remote or work hybrid. And so those moments that sometimes happen off camera between the team, that was just a fun, rare occasion where we were able to, bring that fun and jump on stream and share the fun moments with the chat. So that's like my combination of an answer.
I love that. That's a fantastic answer. Um, while that was running through your mind, one of my favorite, not that anyone asked, but I'm going to share it anyway. One of my
I wanna
favorite
know. I wanna
chat
know.
moments is when we were doing Unto the Moon. We were doing a community stream, or maybe you guys, like, we were waiting for that show to like really take off because you guys were going late, and we had the idea to like tell Connor something was on his face, and the whole chat did it.
Yeah.
And like there was just like that moment on stream, which was funny. And I think later in that same show, like the cleaning lady, it was just Rips and the cleaning lady, which is all time. I was laughing so hard. So many great moments in the community. Just those things when you say like it's more than cards, it's more than collectibles, and you can point to those things. Like that's what it's all about. At what point, take me to the moment where you first heard that you guys were doing Whatnot.
I don't know like how much I can say or not, but I remember that, we had a meeting as a team, and ultimately Gary and Andy were like, we're going to go live on Whatnot. And we were all like, heck yeah, we are stoked about this. And it was a very quick turnaround by nature, as most things are with us in our live streams. I think it wasn't long after we, had that meeting of like Gary and Andy being like, we're going to go live on Whatnot, to us being live on Whatnot. And the debut was so fun and electric. And I think it has grown our community in a really positive way. And especially in that a lot of our community members have become streamers. And it's really fun to like, create moments in a similar way as they happen on VeeFriends streams in other really intimate spaces on streams, because there were certain vibes, back in the good old days, as Adam would say, that we're living in the good old days. He is very right in that it wasn't long. I joined the team, and those Fanatics live streams, they were so intimate and fun and close, and Whatnot has grown our company and our community in many ways that have been very, very, very positive. And I think it's been nothing but good for all of us. And I do miss the moments of it being, just like a few of us in a room and just having a good old grand time, and not hearing actually, we always heard this spiel. We always heard the spiel of, do you know what VeeFriends is? And then we run through
Yep.
251 characters and everything. And so allowing our community members to now host those intimate spaces where we can all jam and really have fun is a good experience for us all, I think. I'm speaking on behalf of everyone in the chat, but I think it's been a fun experience.
Yeah, just a phenomenal move. And like myself, I was like, they're never going back to Fanatics live again. And then I think you guys did one stream, possibly two, that even caught my radar after that. But yeah, the good old days. I like that.
Which are not Fanatics live is still very much, we do plan to go live there still. We are not exclusive to any platform, so the good old days are still alive is basically what I'm saying.
Right, you hear that, VeeFriends PR? It's on the table. Before I want to talk about you personally and Whatnot in a second, but before, we poke fun at Rips a lot. Rips is so entrenched in the community. A lot of people that have been around know like his story, but like as someone that works with him day in and day out, like all jokes aside, because we can make plenty of them. What is something like we don't know, or maybe don't necessarily appreciate about the head of collectibles for VeeFriends?
Oh, about Mr. Adam Rips. I think, I know you guys know this. I know the community knows this, but I don't think we appreciate it enough. I don't think we draw it out of him enough. But actually, I could probably come up with multiple answers, but this is just the one that came to mind first. And if another one comes to mind, I will absolutely let you guys know somehow, some way. But I think his ability to sing, he can sing like crazy. And when he's just hanging out in the office or, like buzzing around doing different things, he'll start singing randomly, or like when we're cleaning up from a stream, and he is a really, really, really good singer. And I don't think he would ever sing if he was put on the spot. But if you're ever around him and he starts humming or singing, don't draw attention to it. Just let it happen. He's really talented, very
All
talented in
right.
multiple different ways.
All right. Well, we'll have to remember that for the next talent show.
Yeah, there we go.
What not talent show. Um, yeah, I mean, we could go into any. There's so many buckets of collectibles and things and experiences, but uh, you are drinking the Kool-Aid, and you have started to do whatnot as yourself, the music and collectibles. I am like in my own journey of like trying to figure out like because I've done the whole selling thing, and I enjoy selling, but I like the idea of a show on top of that, using that platform like Gary talks about. But you're like actually doing it. Like I just looked at your like all of your planned shows, and you have so many cool themes. So talk to us about like your journey in doing that real quick, and like what your aspirations are.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm really excited, excuse me, about streaming in general. Whether it's on Whatnot or Twitch or YouTube or you know, TikTok live or Instagram. In general, I'm just excited about live streaming because I think it's a really authentic way of consuming content, both creating and consuming content. And like there's a lot of transparency with it. And I think there's also a lot of creativity that can be built on top of it, to a degree. Like a lot of creators, even myself, I'll speak for myself in this scenario. When I first started making videos, it would take me, a lot of takes, a lot of takes to get a good
Right.
one, and use that. And what comes with doing a lot of takes like that is it's less and less authentic, the more you do it. And so being in a setting like this where we're, live streaming to Twitch and YouTube and all the platforms, and it's going to be consumed in another way as well, and that's like in a post production setting, when we're not live. But I think there's just a layer of authenticity to live streaming, and I think it is also like for someone who may be like really busy or may feel like they don't have a lot of time to create content, or the content creation process can feel overwhelming at times. I think live streaming like puts you in a position where you kind of just have to like pull the trigger and do it and learn as you go. Like there's no way you can get better at live streaming without live streaming. You know what I mean? Like you can't just like practice being in this environment. You can shoot content, you can film content, but it's not the same because you're not talking to, like human beings through. We may still be talking through like technology, but when I'm talking to my camera, there's no potential way my camera is going to respond back to me or give me any sort of cues or anything like that that lets me build any sort of relationships in real time. And so there's just a layer of authenticity that comes with live streaming, and it gives no excuses as to why you can't create content, because essentially you can like exactly what you're doing right now. We're live streaming right now, so people are enjoying this in real time, and we're building connections and making memories together in real time with everyone who's in different parts of the world, different states, different countries, and something that would be virtually impossible to do, like way back 10, 15 years ago. And when we're done here, you're going to take this and you're going to upload it as a YouTube video. And there's moments in here, right? Like we're coming up like over an hour right now. But within this hour, we've talked about um, multiple different things, right? We've talked about VeeFriends. We've talked about me as an individual. We've talked about 137. We've talked about many different segments of things. And
Mhm.
so Gary's content creation strategy that he's, hammered into people for years and years now, of taking a podcast and clipping it into short form videos and then posting it across social platforms and posting in volume there. Obviously, that is what 90 I wouldn't say 90%. I wouldn't even put a percentage on it. It's just what a lot of content creators are doing right now. A lot of, not right now even, it is the formula to build a base of posting consistently on social media. And what can take that to the next level, especially with live streaming, because you're doing it for a really long duration of time, 2, 3, 4 hours. Within that time frame, you can then take those segments that I mentioned of us talking about VeeFriends, and from this hour video, there's like 2, 3, 10 to 15, maybe 20-minute videos that can be long form videos themselves. And
Yeah.
so you go through and you cut those segments as clips of your long form video, but they're still long form videos of themselves. And then you can take those segments and apply Gary's method again and actually make short form clips from those and distribute that to social platforms that are meant for discovery, like TikTok, like YouTube Shorts, Snapchat, Facebook Reels, that sort of thing. Because certain social media platforms are for discovery, and certain social media platforms are for building a community. So Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, those are like community-based platforms, right? YouTube, people seek you out and they come find you.
Yep.
Instagram is like your website that's not your website. It's like you're building a community. With Reels, you do get outside exposure from your following, but if you're posting in your main feed, majority of the people who are seeing it are your already existing audience. TikTok, you're being shown to an algorithm, to a For You page that a lot of non-followers are seeing you. So it's a discovery-based platform, right? By like scaling, while everyone is scaling all the discovery platforms, I think it's super important to be one of the few people right now who are also scaling your community-based platforms. So yes, that does mean Instagram and Twitter, but more importantly, I think YouTube, right? So by taking that same method of like clipping up short form videos into clipping up long form videos, you now go from posting once a week on YouTube to posting 3, 5, almost daily on YouTube. Because from the one podcast you now have 4 smaller, shorter, long form videos that can be consumed in a different way. It might grab people's attention in a different way because the title is just a little different. And you might try a different thumbnail, and people might click into that because it has a different keyword, and so it pops up on their homepage on YouTube before the longer form podcast is, because someone's gonna consume a 20-minute video before they consume an hour and a half video. So once they find you in one video, then they go down the rabbit hole of watching all your other ones.
I'm gonna stop talking. I'm just gonna let you keep on educating us. I'm gonna throw the plan out the window. Just keep on dropping the gems. But it blows my mind, and I consider myself someone that like kind of pays attention to this stuff. It just blows my mind that like he's screaming like social shopping, whatnot, and like it might be like when we look back in 10 years, it might be one of those huge things, like huge pillars of like what built VeeFriends. Like it is genius. Like Tea with GaryVee leading as the opening act, which is the act for a VeeFriends card stream, and he's like doing giveaways of these mugs like no one's ever seen, and like everyone in this chat's like, what the hell, like how do I get one? And then they buy them and he gives them away, and everyone like looking for the first time is like, what the hell is this? Like, why are people going bananas about it? And then they stay for the stream. It is like so genius. Like it makes me want to throw up. Like it's just so good and it's working. Like
100%. I am in love with live streaming, everything about it. whether there's a shopping aspect to it or not, I think you're 100% right. There has been days where I've been in the office and I've been in meetings and or like I get introduced to someone who's just like passing by in the office, and they'll walk by the live studio, and someone on the Vayner relationships team or someone on another part of the like another Vayner company will be giving a tour of the office, and they'll show the studio, and the person will be like, "Oh, like what do you guys do here? This looks really cool." And they start asking questions, and we explain what we're doing, and we're like, and seeing people's response and them being just so curious on how they can do it themselves, it really speaks to just like the innovation around um, everything that VeeFriends really is, down to its core. It is innovative. And so
Mm.
um, I'm obsessed. I'm really excited about all things.
It's just so good. Like it hit me like a train, like one of those. I don't know if it was last tea with GaryVee or whatever, but it was like, oh, like this is genius. Like he always says, like watch what I'm doing, watch what I'm doing, watch what I'm
100%.
doing.
What's
Uh,
really interesting, sorry, I don't mean
no,
to cut you. But to your point of him saying, like, watch what I'm doing, watch what I'm doing, it and seeing it happen in real time, T with GaryVee, then bringing new eyes to VeeFriends, and that ultimately helping VeeFriends, it just really speaks to his point of building a entertainment value into streams, because
yeah,
Whatnot is different in a way in that everybody's mindset when you go into a social platform, whether you realize it consciously or not, or it's subconscious, you're in a different mindset when you click in an app. So when you click into Twitter, you're in a completely different mindset than when you're using Instagram, or like on Instagram, you're more professional than you would be on TikTok. And the same is true for Whatnot. You're in a completely different mindset clicking into the Whatnot app or Fanatics Live or any live video shopping platform than you are clicking into a TikTok or a YouTube Shorts. And so I think the way to stand out in a platform that will continue to grow over time, as more people start streaming, as more eyes come to the platform, the way to stand out in that world is to add a level of entertainment. And so,
yeah,
a lot of people are always curious on like, why go live on like Whatnot? It is a shopping platform. If you're just gonna like host a podcast, or if you're going to not like sell something. And well, it's like you're still spending time with the community that you have there. You have an audience there, and you don't have to sell anything, but it is available as a feature there if you want to. It doesn't always have to be shopping. I think as Whatnot grows, um, entertainment will be very important when it comes to
I
streaming.
totally. And the fact that just the sheer fact that you could just create clips
100%.
like right
Hmm.
there on the spot, like it's huge. Wow, I really could grab a hole on this for a while because it's been so fun of mine. Chat in a few minutes. It's gonna be your turn to ask some questions to Courtney. Are you okay on time? I'm just looking at the
Yeah.
time now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm fine.
Um,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
sharing.
This is fantastic. I got a couple last questions before our final segment, and then we'll let the chat jump in. We've excuse me. We haven't really talked about the characters themselves. This audience doesn't really need that. We know you're a huge Dialed In Dog fan, but what character do you, Courtney, need to spend more time with?
Wonderful question. I think uh I think there's two because they have the same trait. I think Patient Pig and Patient Panda. I think I tend to think I'm a patient person, but in reality, I could definitely be more patient. So I'm gonna go with that answer.
I love that. Um, the, I think that should be like a copy and paste answer across the board. I think everyone could be a little bit more patient. Another unfair question. There's so many great vibes, great people in here that you work with, that are in this chat, that are in the VeeFam. But anybody specific that you want to blow the whistle on and give some roses to publicly that you work with, like, or anybody?
100%. I want to give major roses to. I want to give I don't know. I don't know if he's on. I don't think he's on Twitter, but the community knows who he is if you tune into the gameplay streams. But I want to give a major shout out to Phil. Phil would jump in on the live streams whenever he could, and he always brought great energy. And I think he always was a great character for the chat, and I think the chat really loved him. And so I want to just give a shout out to Phil.
Love that. All right, and this one's specifically for you. I got my phone out here. I would like you, Courtney. Could you put us onto VeeFriends for a minute straight?
Oh, put you on the VeeFriends?
Let's go.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go Alpha Alligator, Ambitious Angel, Charming Cheetah, Balanced Beetle, Empathy Elephant, Energetic Electric Eel, Focus Falcon, Gift Goat, Gifted Gopher. When you look for their validation, you weren't living. Decisive Duck, Dynamic Dinosaur, Dialed In Dog. I'm gonna go Zestful Zebra. I'm gonna go Your Poor Relationship with Time. I'm gonna go. Oh no, why am I blanking? Oh my gosh, just pick a letter, Courtney. Literally, Unwavering Urchin, Quick Quail, Meticulous Magpie. Wow, that's a deep cut. The Oak Monster, Detail Oriented Dumbo Octopus. Oh, 7 seconds. Five.
Swear words.
55555 fan.
Let's
And
go.
yeah, there it is.
Let's go. On the spot. If you guys don't know, I'm sure most of you do, but if you don't know, Courtney, pillar, amazing piece of pillar content. Putting flashing the phone, getting people to put on new music for a minute, amazing. So much. Now I'm looking at the chat. Harder on the other end, isn't it?
It is definitely.
I like. First of all, it's such an awesome piece of content that you do, and I'm like, it's dating me so hard because I'm like, what? Like, who are these people? But it's very good. It's very. I need it. To stay hip.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's awesome. All right. Thank you so much. I want to do one last quick segment. It's called Micro Macro Spitfire. I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions, real Spitfire. You can give one word answers and keep it general in the macro, or really elaborate why your answer is what it is in the micro. Okay. All right. So here we are. Chat, you are on right after this segment. Micro Macro Spitfire with Courtney Knecht. Here we go. Favorite teacher you had growing up and one reason why?
Mrs. Packer, because she gave me a compliment one day telling me I was like Hannah Montana because I could make friends with both the guys and the girls in the class. And so it was the best of both worlds. Boom.
All right. If we walk into middle school, high school, Courtney's bedroom, what posters are on the wall?
Justin Bieber all over the place and nothing else.
What brand or influencer, artist, whoever, if they created an NFT today, would you like drop everything and get it immediately?
Oh wow, what a wonderful question. I think I'm gonna say, can this be Dead or Alive?
Sure.
Okay. Wow, this is so not specific. Okay, Betty White, if she was alive.
All right.
I would trust her. I would trust her with anything.
Not on my bingo card. All right, your favorite piece of VeeFriends memorabilia, physical memorabilia.
Can this be apparel?
Anything you want.
Juicy Jaguar tracksuit.
Oh wow. Also, that's not where I would have went. Favorite movie.
Love and Basketball.
We didn't. It's a shame I didn't even hit on this. But your favorite VCon moment.
Oh, T-Pain. I lucked out and got front row with one of my best friends. And it was like the first time we had seen each other in a really long time since I moved here. So T-Pain's performance, absolutely.
Let's go. Bougie hotel or hiking and camping in the woods.
Hiking, camping in the woods.
Favorite concert you've ever been to.
Oh man. Oh man. Um Hard Summer Music Festival in 2018.
Where's that one?
It's in Fontana, California. It's on like a racetrack, Fontana Raceway,
Okay.
and I saw Travis Scott perform.
Let's go. If it was illegal to have more than one social media platform, which one would you keep?
YouTube.
Wine, beer, or coffee?
Wine, beer, or coffee?
Mm-hmm.
Neither. I'm going matcha.
Oh, hey.
Heyo.
Gratitude gorilla or patient panda?
Oh, Patient Panda.
And lastly, when we look back on Courtney's body of work in 20, 30 years, maybe you become the TikTok, YouTube star, maybe you have the best whatnot channel of all time. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want people to say about you?
That I always made them feel welcome and like they had a friend.
Let's go. Courtney, appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to draw an imaginary line that this is where the recording ends. Chat, this is your opportunity right now. Ask any questions appropriate while we have a few more minutes with Courtney. Can you name the 15 rookies? Soggy says. I gotta look back in this chat. Dom says I live in Fontana.
Probably. I'll try. Resilient Red Devil, Tranquil Toad, the one that got Adam this past weekend, or maybe earlier this week. I don't even remember. Whimsical Wolf, Versatile Viking, Smooth Spider. I already know I'm not going to get off 15. Yeah, I'm not going to get off 15.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It's hard for the brain to remember that many things. Yeah, Minakawa, Mindful Minakawa,
Wow.
Notorious Ninja.
Yeah. Did you used to swear and now you don't? Like as for the cards?
I mean, like in my day-to-day life, like I swear, yeah, but
On stream, like calling out the cards.
yeah, on stream, I just, try to. I am aware that like kids are watching, and
Got it.
I try to just. I'm not Gary, this is Gary's. Gary can
Right.
do what he wants, but I am not him, so yeah.
So there's no truth to the rumor that Rips put out a memo for The Office.
No.
I didn't think so. Rips respect.
Yeah, I like that. It's Rips respect.
Rips respect. That's how you know you made it. Everyone, there's no questions from K Coles. Oh, here we go. Will there be any more JoJo lookalike content?
You never know. My the same friend that I saw T-Pain front row with at VCon, she has been trying to get me to do a really funny concept for a YouTube video that surrounds the idea of me dressing up like JoJo Siwa. And she has not yet convinced me to do it, but maybe one day.
Soggy Waffles 3 says crispy or soggy, and why?
Crispy, because I like if we're talking about food, I like crispy food.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're talking. I hope we're talking about food.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm talking about food. So
what is the dream you hold onto, and how has it changed, if at all? It's a great
it's a great
question.
question. Yeah, wonderful question.
Thanks.
Savvy.
From not so savvy living.
I would say what a wonderful question. Wow. When I was like back in college and just starting to host events and things of that nature, I initially wanted I had this overarching idea for like the brand that I wanted to create, and I knew it was going to be a personal based brand, meaning it was going to involve my last name and it was going to be based like around me being a creator, quote unquote, but not knowing the like actual tide like that like creator wasn't like a popular term that was used at the time that I like had was thinking about this, because I while I had started hosting events in college, I had this idea for an app in high school, as a sophomore in high school, um, that was around the idea of music and job opportunities in music and connecting people like within the music industry. And so with my last name being Knecht, I really wanted to play into that. And so I had an overarching it had started out as an app idea as a sophomore in college. And then it had turned into it shapeshifted into event production company, um, brand with the same like overarching visuals and style and like that sort of thing and branding. And then as COVID hit and as I got into making music videos and content, then I was like, oh, I really enjoy video production. And because, at the time that I was really forming my business for myself, I was like actually forming an LLC and that sort of thing and had to define what I was doing. And events like there was no telling when events were really going to come back or not, and so it was always something that I wanted to come back to eventually, but knew like for the time being like I was going to focus on video production because that's what was in front of me and that was what was available to do. um and so then it shifted into wanting to do a lot of video production. And then as I got more into social content, I was like, oh, I really enjoy, making social content more so than doing, music videos for underground artists because there are like a lot of um, roller coasters of things that happen in like that corner of the world. And so it had shapeshifted once again into like content production. And then as like I'm introduced to live streaming and web3, I'm like, oh, these are also really interesting industries and paths as well. And I think while it has all like somewhat subtly changed over time as I get introduced to like new skill sets and new things, it all like ties back to the overarching like vision that I had through the entire um years that all of these things had been changing in like the overall brand that I wanted to build. And like there's different aspects to it, right? Like I can host events and I can make videos and I can live stream and there can be a web3 infrastructure to it. And there can be multiple things that exist at once, like within, that's why I do love the Vayner ecosystem, and why Gary was someone and still is someone that I really enjoy learning from. And it's crazy to me that I even get to say that I have the opportunity and chance to like learn directly from him. But I think like while it's subtly changed over time, it all just was like changing for a bigger picture. And sometimes we don't like in the moment see why things are changing for that, but in hindsight you can kind of see like, oh, all of these different things come together to form a bigger picture, and now I have skill sets to do multiple things. that can all tie back to like an overarching brand where that vision didn't change, but I just like added more things to the toolbox per se.
Totally. I love that. Shape shifting is such a great word to like encompass that with the ever changing technologies and tools. Do you enjoy living? This is from Michelle Urso, the Michelle Urso. Excuse my French. Do you enjoy living in NYC, or do you wish you worked remote from somewhere else?
I have done both. I At 137, I lived in Los Angeles, so I was working remote full time, and there were benefits to that. But I think like we live in a world where it's like kind of both. Like there are days where, um, like first of all, I love living in New York, and there's so much opportunity and random things that happen that like you wouldn't be able to jump on or like take the opportunity to do if you weren't here in person. And there's definitely a lot of benefits that come like with that, and just being here and being present and being able to like communicate with your coworkers face to face. And so while remote work is like very tempting, there are days of the week here and there where I am able to work from home, and so I still get like a little bit of taste of remote work. But I do think there is huge benefit in being in person for sure, especially as a young person, because I will say like 1:37 p.m. was my first job out of college, and I was remote for that. And then so moving to New York and VeeFriends being my second job out of college, it's really my first job like in an actual workplace. And so um, definitely like learning as I go, but it's really cool to experience both sides, I think. And I like both, but there's just so much opportunity that comes with being in person.
K Coles asks, Love Connect, new dating site.
Nope.
Pass.
Don't think so. Not what I'm working on.
Sorry, I thought I was gonna sneeze. I've been good at
No,
muting
you're good.
coughs and
Bless you.
sneezes all day, all stream. If you could make up, this is and bag. If you could make up your perfect position within VeeFriends or any of Gary's companies, what would it be?
Honestly, I think majority of it would be what I'm doing now, and if I could add anything to it, it would be more like being able, I feel like the position I'm in now like allows for me to do this in a way, but to just be able to bring in more talent and like introduce more people to the VeeFriends world in that way, like combining audiences of people who we have on stream and that sort of thing, which um like it takes is me, just going to someone and being like, hey, this person that I know like is interested in being on stream, and then we make it happen. And so to a degree, I already am in the position that I would probably make up. Yeah.
Let's go. That's pretty good to say. It's such a young career that you have going. So cool. Great questions, guys.
100%. Chat's crushing it with questions.
Chat is crushing. Chat always crushes. Have you ever seen the iconic movie Tommy Boy?
I have not.
Okay. I'm going to float the idea that sometime during 2025 you watch it. If you can
Okay.
carve out 100 minutes or so, probably
I
less.
think I can manage. Yeah, I could probably
Homework,
manage.
yes. Just rage quit. Yeah, Tommy Boy is a fan favorite. It's a stream favorite. I have one more question I'll throw in. And I love asking you guys. I know some people get more direct work with Gary directly more than others, but like, most people are familiar with like the Garyisms and what he's saying in his content. Was there ever like a meeting you had, or he said something to you that like you heard or you knew, but like it was just like that light bulb moment, maybe because he explained something with certain context, or like you were just in a different, the situation was different, but like something he said that is like simple, just like totally shifted gears for you?
Yeah, 100%. I would say probably the conversation that I had with him about like having this job to begin with, because that first year that I went with Card Talk to the National at Atlantic City, like when we had Card Talk Live 2 and that sort of thing, and I did the penny challenge, um, that was actually when the conversation started. Like after that national, and we, like I went back to LA and was back working normal day-to-day things with 137. Um, we had a meeting and he asked me to move to New York at that time. And at the time I was not ready. And I told him no. I was like, I'm not going to move to New York. And he was like, okay, well, if you're not willing to move, like maybe we can figure out some sort of remote position for you. Um, or we can, like just pick up this conversation, later on. And he was like, but just don't be afraid to like, reach out or anything. Like if you change your mind or anything like that, like just let me know and we'll see where things go. And, if you want to restart this conversation at any time, feel free to reach out. And I was like, okay, for sure. I appreciate it. Thank you. And so, um, I continued doing what I was doing with 137, and um, it wasn't until the next national in Chicago, when I sat down with him at like the very first the very first TCG tournament, Collectors Cup, at the national in Chicago. I had just gotten back from Lollapalooza, that was in Chicago. That it was the week after, I think, of the national, and so I had the first ever like tap card, the All Time Classic company that I still do a lot of content with and work with to this day. Way back then is when I had initially met them, and the first tap card that we made together was for an artist at Lollapalooza, Party Alone, and I brought it with me on that trip to give to him. And so I showed Gary when we were at the Collectors Cup tournament, and I showed him, like how you can tap it to your phone, and that the, back end side of it is like native to Web3, but it's not super front facing, and it serves as like, a Web 2.5 product. And um, after that, and then I also showed him Party's music. And after that, we're getting up, and he was like, do you have like an ask? Like, you're showing me this, do you have something that you like want from me from this conversation? And I was like, no, not really. I didn't even think I was going to get the time with you. So I didn't think that far ahead. So no, if I could ask you like for anything, it would just be like show Party some love. And, you know, yeah. And he was like, well, I think we should, he was like, well, first of all, absolutely. Like I'll show him some love. And two, I think we should restart the conversation of you like working closer towards me on VeeFriends. And I was like, yeah, we can definitely restart the conversation. And when I in the moment, I didn't realize that he would probably propose the question of me moving to New York again. It wasn't until like after Lollapalooza and I got back from traveling. I had been traveling for like almost a month straight at that point. And so I got back home and then it was like a month or two in between that conversation and our meeting. And he basically like teed up the question the same way. It was like exactly a year later. And he was just, he's like, if I create a position here for you at VeeFriends and I offer you the job officially, are you willing to commit like 1 to 2 years of your life and move to the New York, New Jersey, tri-state area? And I didn't say anything for a split second, and then he like gave me a moment to answer. And like I took a second to think about it, but in my mind, like I had already made up my mind, and it was yes. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna move. And I don't really know. W I don't really know what made me, like, in that moment decide yes, but I don't know if it was the way he, teed up the question, or, if it was just a combination of, like, it being a year later and, like, almost having karma to a degree and not wanting to, miss out
Right.
on any, opportunity that could come from, saying yes, and I said yes, after a split second of thinking, and he was like, "Why don't you, like," he was like, "I'm gonna be in LA on Friday, like, why don't you take the weekend and, like, think about it, and, if you wanna talk more on Friday, we can, and then you wait and you give me an actual answer on Monday." And I was like, "Okay, that sounds great." And so we get off the phone, and Friday comes around, and I have a meeting set up with him, um and, like, I think he thought, like, I was just gonna come in and, like, ask more questions and that sort of thing, but I came in and I was like, "Okay, so, like, what are the details? Like, when do I start?" Like, and
Right.
he was like, "I told you, like, to take the weekend to think about it, like, actually take the weekend to think about it." I was like, "Alright, like, I'm gonna hit you with the same answer on Monday, though," and, um, yeah,
That's funny.
and from there on, yeah, I moved pretty quick.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that he was on your list, right? And he asked, he was persistent, persistent penguin. Um, that's so cool. What a cool story. Let's squeeze one more in here. Fro says, "What compliment do you get from people that you may have least expected?"
That's a great
That-
question. Um, I don't I'll say this, like, the best compliment I've ever received and definitely sticks out in my mind, it came from our very own president, Andy Kranak. When I first joined the team, we had a couple of, like, one-on-one meetings and, like, discussing on, like, what he envisioned, my role being, and, like, what he wanted from me, like, goals-wise, and, like, we were setting those goals and just talking back and forth. And I remember one meeting, he, said a very encouraging compliment where he said, um the reason you stand out to me and why you're such a vital part of the VeeFriends team is that uh you are a triple threat. You're a Swiss arm. So he didn't say triple threat. He said you're a Swiss Army knife when it comes to what you do. When it comes to creating content, you can come up with the idea, you can film it, you can edit it, and you can then distribute it. And even further than that, a step further than that is, like, engaging and analyzing and being able to adjust and make things, like, perform. And he was like, there's not many people in this world that can, like, see that process and do it well from, like, start to finish. And you're a creator who I've met who is fully capable of doing that all on your own. And so that to me was just like a huge compliment around, like, the things that I do for VeeFriends, and just can be, like, applied to different areas of life as well. So that's
Wow,
definitely, like, the best
that's
compliment I've ever received.
that's a very cool compliment from someone that knows content very well. Awesome.
100%.
Great questions, chat. I'm like feeling a sense of like a proud dad of the chat. Like that was great. Um, well, Court, I like really like can't thank you enough. Like you, so many of you guys, like you could easily like shut the door, like I'm not at work anymore, and like not do this kind of stuff. But you show up for the community, and I know myself and everyone else really appreciates that. So, um, very, very, very cool of you to do. Um, wh- Obviously, you have a ton of support here, and love what you do. Keep the streams coming, keep the content coming, and I'm sure a lot of us are going to be tuning into the Courtney whatnot streams coming up as well as VeeFriends. So
Thank you so much. Oh,
yeah, like your next stream.
I was gonna pregame this stream and play a little Club Penguin, but I needed to get some work done and get some editing, and so I moved it to next week where I'm going to be playing Club Penguin, hopefully every Friday night. But Saturday, I'm going to be jumping on and playing Pokemon, auctioning some Pokemon cards, maybe do some candy bracelets as well. And so I'm really excited just to start like gaming on whatnot. I used to game a lot with my brother as a kid, so I'm excited to get back to my roots and do some like funky games that people don't necessarily game all the time. Like I'm talking Thrillville off the rails. I'm talking Dave Mira like BMX bike on the PlayStation 2. I'm talking Brawlhalla. Like I'm talking some deep cut games. So it's gonna be fun. Nostalgia.
PlayStation 2.
Oh
Let's go.
yeah.
That's my time. That's my golden age. Amazing. Amazing. Are you allowed to sell, like, can you do food and snacks and whatnot?
That's a great question. I think, don't quote me on it. I think you can do food. You can't do liquid.
Okay.
Um,
I'll
but
look
I
into it.
mean,
I could
we've
look
shipped a donut. I guess that was back in a different time period, a different era. But I would imagine you could
pre-COVID.
probably do some sort of packaged food. I think people do those like crazy like chips and things like where it's like wild flavors and stuff from different places. I think people do
Yeah.
that and whatnot. So I'd imagine.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Court, so much. This was awesome. Really appreciate you. Guys, tomorrow, episode 70 with Nicholas Corso is dropping.
Let's
Um,
go.
and that's a great full circle because I started this with saying how Corso passed the note to you to get you on number 71. So I will we'll be back next week. Check out, follow Courtney on whatnot, follow VeeFriends, cards, comics, uh and anything.
One question for you before we go. Is there
Yeah.
anyone that you would like me to pass the note to?
Oh, that's a great one. Uh I I would, and I talked about this with the card talk. I would love to talk to Lou. I've never met Lou. He's one of the people that I've never talked to. He probably has no idea who I am, but that would be awesome.
I got you. I will pass the note.
And if
I'll
you
pass the
like
note to Lou.
Tyler and I have a good thing going, so like he would vouch. But I
Okay.
appreciate that because Lou's been in the inner circle for a while, and I'm sure he's got a lot of cool stories. That's
100%. Consider it done. Consider it done. I'll
I
shoot him a
appreciate that.
message.
That's so thoughtful. Thank you.
Of course. Happy to do it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you all
Awesome.
hanging out in the chat. Thank you guys for this was a lot of fun. Thanks for
Thank
having me.
Yeah, of course, anytime. Guys, we will see you next week, if not before. Love you long time. VeeFam forever.
Are we still live? Wait, am I just hanging? Can I like low key take over the VFam network right now? No way. No way I'm still alive. No way. I'm checking Twitch. Oh, there's an ad I can't even see. I can't even see. Well, chat, this is my show now. I'm taking over. I wish I could rip it back. I wish I had a pack to rip. That would be great. Yeah, Courtney Unleashed. Courtney Unleashed on the VFam network. The real exclusive show is just starting, chat. We're going to get into it. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a Twitter hitter on the one and only Mr. Messer. And we're going to say, love, all love. Much love, chat. I'm gonna get out of here. This is not my show, not my channel. But appreciate you all hanging, and big shout out to Mr. Messer, our very own Rob. Bye. Love ya.